Hello and welcome to another one of D's ADD videos. Today we're going to be looking at the basics of chemistry, just a few concepts that we should be aware of. So, what is chemistry? Well, chemistry is a science that studies the composition and the different properties of matter. Well, what is matter, I guess, should be your next question. And matter is, if I could find my mouse, there it is, anything that has a mass and takes up space. That's what matter is. So chemistry studies composition of this stuff and all the properties. And atoms are the building blocks of matter. And each of these atoms consist of a nucleus that within the nucleus has a proton, which has this mass. Most people just use 1.67. Let's move a little bit to the right. Actually, we should zoom out a little bit so we can see it all. So maybe that was a little too much. So in the nucleus, there's also neutrons. They have a mass of this. Also, it's the negative 24 grams. And the mass in AMUs. Protons have a +1 charge, and the neutrons have a no charge. And basically what happens is everybody knows or should know by now that like charges repel each other, okay? So how can you have a bunch of protons in the nucleus? Well, these neutrons kind of act as a buffer space and allow them to all be in the nucleus. And what happens is these electrons, they come up and they orbit this nucleus in these shells. And we'll talk about quantum shells in detail later on. Just as an introduction, know that there's going to be these sphere-like areas in which electrons can be. And it's basically founded on principles of probability. So they're called electron density clouds in general. And we'll go over that in detail later. But this is just an introduction to chemistry. So these atoms themselves form up what are called elements, okay? Elements are substances that cannot be decomposed any further into anything simpler by chemical reactions, okay? All the atoms have the same atomic number. Talk about that later, atomic numbers. And it's basically they have all the same, all the atoms within the element have the same properties. And these elements can form compounds. And these compounds are substances that are formed when two or more different elements are always combined with a fixed ratio. For instance, water. Whether we're forming or breaking down water, decomposition or formation, the mass of oxygen should always be 8 times the mass of hydrogen. Okay? This is for decomposition or formation. And that's the definition of the compound of H2O. And within this compound of H2O, let's say we look at this glass of water, okay? We can look at just one H2O molecule. A molecule is just the individual atoms, the 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. You get a bunch of these individual molecules together, and they're referred to as a compound, okay? So these are just some basic words that you should be very familiar with when discussing chemistry. Know the -1 charge for the electron, the +1 charge for the proton, no charge for the neutron, where their locations are in the nucleus for the proton, the neutron, and surrounding the nucleus in these spherical shells. And again, we'll deal with that at a later date. Okay? Matter has space, or has mass and takes up space. And atoms are the building blocks of matter. All right, I hope that's clarified some of the basic things you should know for chemistry. please watch some of the example videos in which we look at the differences between elements, compounds, and molecules, and we're going to look at the atomic number and the physical properties and the chemical properties of different elements. Okay? Hope this has cleared up any confusion. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.